Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar, An Introduction to the Jamf Marketplace. My name is Sam Weiss, and I'm a Solution Partner Manager at Jamf, and I'm joined today by Brad Becker, a Developer Relations Manager at Jamf as well. And between both of our departments, we interface with a ton of third-party developers that extend the use of Jamf through valuable tools, integrations, and more to make either your users' lives easier or your life as a Jamf Pro admin easier. Today, we have a really fun webinar planned, and I want to especially thank those of you that are joining us for your first Jamf webinar. And we're going to start with a high-level introduction to Jamf Pro. We're going to have a brief conversation about the importance of your third-party app and service ecosystem, which ties really well into the Jamf Marketplace, a repository of tools and services that integrate well with Jamf. And we're going to spend the majority of our time today on the Marketplace Solution Spotlight. Brad and I have picked 7 different products in the Jamf Marketplace that could make an immediate impact on your Jamf environment and the way that you manage and use devices. So hopefully you find them interesting and useful as well. And in your survey results, we would really like to know what out of this did you find interesting and what might you want to hear more about in future Jamf webinars. So to get started, just a real quick overview of Jamf. Jamf's sole purpose is to help organizations succeed with Apple. And the Apple device experience for end users has always been simple and intuitive. Where Jamf comes in is we help IT departments take that same great experience, add business-critical apps, integrate with essential services, and then scale it across an entire enterprise. And we do that with a portfolio of products, but today, we're going to focus on Jamf Pro. For those of you that don't know, Jamf Pro is an advanced Apple device management tool for IT professionals. Using Jamf Pro, IT administrators can deploy and configure Apple devices with zero IT touch. And device configurations like encryption policies and VPN can be managed just as easily as the productivity and security tools that you and your end users need. Extensive inventory collection means you will never be out of touch with the state of your fleet. And security management gives peace of mind with file vault, encryption policies, and iOS data protection enforcement. But most importantly, Jamf helps empower end users by giving access to self-service, an organization's curated app store of sorts, with immediate access to additional software titles, configurations, self-help tools, and more. Jamf is true Apple device lifecycle management for your entire Apple ecosystem. It really doesn't matter if it's a Mac, an iPad, an iPhone, or an Apple TV. Jamf offers tools to treat Apple devices like first-class citizens on your network. But curiously enough, we aren't here to talk so much about Jamf today, as we are about third-party products. And again, if you're new to Jamf overall, make sure to follow this webinar up with the Apple Device Management for Beginners webinar. So let's talk about your third-party app and services ecosystem. It's highly unlikely that your users stick to stock iOS or Mac apps for project management, collaboration, and productivity, and the plethora of other tasks that they do day to day. And similarly, it would be nearly impossible for Jamf Pro to be the only tool that you use as an IT administrator. So whether it's your end user or yourself as the administrator, everyone actually just wants the same thing, a great experience with Apple devices. And that routinely involves third-party products and services. For your users, it means apps that work well in an enterprise environment. And for admins, that means using tools that let you work more efficiently to accomplish tasks in different and better ways. And fortunately, there's a growing list of enterprise services and apps that integrate or work extremely well with Jamf Pro. But where do you find them? Well, the Jamf Marketplace is your home for exactly that. When you are looking for integrations that work well with Jamf, consultants that can advise on Jamf best practices, or potentially MSPs that can handle all of your Apple device management needs, make sure to visit the Jamf Marketplace first for a great list of resources that work well with the tools you already have. And today, we're going to focus on the integration side of the marketplace. The Jamf Marketplace has integration listings that range from free and open source tools to paid and commercial services. And while some are very vertically oriented, like healthcare solutions or education learning platforms, others have a broad horizontal applicability to anyone managing Apple devices with Jamf Pro. So it's worth looking through the list to see if you already use a product that could be integrated with Jamf, or when you're looking for a new tool, it's worth a quick search in the Jamf Marketplace to see if anything you are considering has tie-ins to your device management tool. And it's free to register for the Marketplace, but all listings are vetted by Jamf teams to ensure quality. So today, we're going to spend time exploring 7 different solutions in the Jamf Marketplace that could add value to your Apple deployments right away. We're going to talk generally about what it does and how it ties into Jamf. And if you see one that interests you, make sure to get your phone out. There will be a QR code on the screen to take you directly to the Jamf Marketplace listing for these solutions. But they're also easy to search for after the fact. So with no further ado, let's talk about 7 integrated marketplace solutions that can make your job easier and your users' experience better. And the first one we're going to talk about is PaperCut. Anyone that's used Jamf Pro can tell you that printer deployment is something Jamf Pro can do just fine. But sometimes simply deploying a driver in a print queue isn't enough. Some organizations require a much finer level of control and need a print and copy management tool. Beyond simplifying the actual task of deploying printer queues, PaperCut can help track who's printing what, as well as assign and enforce printing budgets. Printer configurations can be set to change user behavior, such as enforcing black and white or double-sided printing, in an effort to reduce waste, not just for financial reasons, but as well as environmental reasons. PaperCut also adds a level of security to the paper world by offering secure print release to ensure that documents always get into the right hands. And I'm sure any of us that have worked in an office have all seen a resume or a financial document that's been forgotten is just sitting in the print tray. Secure print release by PaperCut would prevent that type of scenario from happening. And interesting for iOS environments, PaperCut enables mobile printing via AirPrint for managed print queues. And if you've heard of PaperCut before, it's because they've been solving the issue of printer management since 1998, and many Jamf admins use it to manage their complex printing environments. Best practice deployment for PaperCut has evolved over time, and thankfully, there are great ways to get PaperCut out to your devices with Jamf Pro. And there's really 2 ways to do that. The first is a feature from PaperCut called Mobility Print. And this enables iOS devices to AirPrint to publish print queues easily and without any additional software. PaperCut will create a config profile with all the correct settings and let you load it up directly to Jamf Pro. And then you can push it to a subset or all of your mobile devices, or even make it available via self-service, just like any other config profile. And Mobility Print also supports macOS, and PaperCut has another slick Jamf Pro deployment method, but this only supports generic drivers. If you do need specific drivers for your printers to unlock advanced features like duplex printing or stapling or binding, Print Deploy is a great new feature from PaperCut to capture print driver and configuration. And this new functionality came out in their latest 19.1 release, which I highly encourage you to check out. And there are actually in-product support articles on Jamf Pro deployment best practices. So if you'd like more information on PaperCut, please visit the Jamf Marketplace listing, and you can actually download their free trial to get started immediately. And if you already have PaperCut, make sure you upgrade to 19.1 and then search the in-product help guide for Jamf Pro. And for future reference, this will be the QR code that we show on all 7 of our products that we are featuring today.
The next partner we'll talk about is Freshservice. Freshservice is a cloud-based IT service management solution that's made by Freshworks. Freshworks has a comprehensive suite of solutions that cover really a broad array of business use cases. And what makes Freshworks really interesting is their approach to IT service management. They've really differentiated themselves by creating a portfolio of incredibly powerful but extremely simple to use products. They also have advanced ticket and routing management and have embraced a strategy of integrating with many partners to make the Freshworks platform much more valuable. Freshworks approached Jamf when they noticed that many joint customers used both Freshservice and Jamf Pro. Using the capabilities of the Jamf Pro API and webhooks, they were able to create a valuable integration very quickly. The integration allows for syncing of asset information from Jamf Pro into Freshservice. Once the data is in Freshservice, it can be used to give support staff a more real-time view of an end user's devices and associate devices with users. The integration uses the Jamf Pro webhooks functionality to keep inventory up to date in Freshservice when device information gets updated in Jamf Pro. You can visit the Freshservice Marketplace listing for additional details around the integration and also links to their documentation, which goes very in-depth into how the integration works and also how to install it in your Freshservice environment.
Awesome. Next, we're going to talk about Carousel, an Apple TV-friendly digital signage system. And if you've dealt with digital signage before, you know there's usually three components. First, you need a content management system, a player endpoint, and a display. And in a traditional digital signage deployment, you might have an on-premise CMS server, and these player endpoints would be expensive microform Windows boxes, Linux players, or even dedicated digital signage boxes. With Carousel, Jamf Pro, and Apple TV, you can have a fully functioning enterprise-grade digital signage system at a fraction of the cost. But things just start getting better from there. Most of those traditional digital signage players don't have an elegant zero-touch setup process like an Apple TV. And additionally, an Apple TV fits in your standard Apple device management strategy, so you can easily secure devices and keep their software up to date. And that is so incredibly important for a device that is made to be publicly viewable. There are several unique features to Carousel that make it a great system for large-scale digital signage deployments. First of all, granular permission control means you can give, for example, an office assistant the ability to update just a portion of the screen in just one building. But on the other hand, a marketing supervisor could update the banner across all screens in all buildings. And with content approval workflows, you can invite others to contribute to the signage messaging, but still have final say over what goes live. Carousel not only supports app config for a seamless setup process, but they also support CAP, which stands for the Common Alert Protocol. That means if you have an emergency notification system, it can be integrated to make sure that important announcements take precedence over an Apple TV in the middle of an AirPlay session. You can learn more about Carousel and its integration with Jamf Pro at the Jamf Marketplace, as well as directly on Carousel's website. So up next is Kiosk Pro, an extremely customizable tool that turns your iPad into a secure public kiosk. And if you've ever been in a museum, art gallery, or retail store that uses iPads in a locked stand with a secure private browser, it's entirely possible that you've interacted with this app. And at Jamf, we often get questions about locking iPads into websites with an MDM. And honestly, the use case makes sense. There are websites and guest portals and self-service kiosks that organizations would like to display on an iPad. But unfortunately, with MDM and Safari, it just doesn't quite cut it. But Kiosk Pro can solve this. This app is made by a company called Kiosk Group that has been designing kiosks and interactive kiosk software for over 30 years, and that's reflected in their very well thought out app. Kiosk Pro comes in several versions that range from Kiosk Pro Lite, which is a free product, all the way up to Kiosk Pro Enterprise at $99, and these are all available directly through the App Store. The differences between all these apps are based on functionality and the level of remote management available. And the version that you get will depend on things that you might need, like offline local storage of content, interactive forums for lead capture at a trade show, or AirPrint or thermal print support, as well as the ability to have displays automatically dim on a schedule, or include really advanced support for external displays and audio devices. The Kiosk Pro website has a great breakdown of the 4 versions and can help guide you to the version that's going to work best for you. But where things start to get really interesting as it pertains to Jamf is in the Plus and Enterprise versions of Kiosk Pro. These apps both support something called Managed App Configuration, which means as a Jamf admin, you can specify in-app settings with a small preference file that you build in Jamf. So Jamf Pro and Kiosk Pro make it easy to manage a fleet of interactive iPad-based kiosks that are either as simple as locking to a single web page to advanced multi-display experiences like you might find in a museum. And the app config that I've shown here is just one example of the app config that's supported in Kiosk Pro. To be honest, I haven't seen an app that uses app config quite as extensively as Kiosk Pro, which means as an admin, it's highly unlikely that you'll ever have to physically touch that app to get it working exactly the way that you want it to. To find out more about Kiosk Pro, its support of app config, and the different versions available, please visit the Jamf Marketplace listing for Kiosk Pro.
All right, next we'll talk about Kenobi. And Kenobi is an interesting marketplace integration because it actually directly enhances an existing feature of Jamf Pro. That feature is our patch management solution, which was released several years ago. Patch management in Jamf Pro was really designed to give visibility into exactly which devices are eligible for specific software patches, and then automatically configure the patching process for the IT admin. Jamf Pro has around 50 or so software titles that it supports natively with the patch management solution. Kenobi was created by a company called Mondada, who has been a longtime Jamf partner in various facets. Mondada had a close relationship with their customers and also an in-depth knowledge of Jamf Pro, and they noticed that their customers wanted additional software titles enabled for patch management within Jamf Pro. They also knew that Jamf Pro had a robust API that could allow for this integration. With that knowledge, they went out and they created Kenobi, which allows for a streamlined and an enhanced experience with Jamf Pro patch management. With Kenobi, you can easily create new patch definitions in a web browser and configure it as an external patch server for Jamf Pro. Kenobi also provides their own patch definitions for over 1,000 software titles, and as a Kenobi customer, you can request definitions for additional titles that you may have in your environment. Kenobi also will be releasing a pro tier of their solution that adds both software testing and packaging and an end user notification framework included with each installer. And finally, one of the coolest things about Kenobi is that they've actually open sourced the framework so that you can get basic functionality of creating patch definitions and hosting your own external patch server for free. You can check out the details of the integration at their marketplace listing, which also links to their website and the GitHub repository, which houses the open source version of Kenobi. The next partner that we're going to be talking about is Umnitsa. Umnitsa is a cloud-based asset tracking solution that focuses on tracking all assets throughout their entire lifecycle, from purchasing all the way to end of life. They really focus on tracking everything that impacts a business, not just the physical devices. So this includes things that a lot of other asset management solutions may not track, like SaaS subscriptions and virtual machines. They've got built-in tools for automation and configuration, and also a system that allows for role-based access to the specific data that people are allowed to see. This integration is actually a pretty exciting one because integrating Jamf Pro with asset management solution adds a ton of value based on the strengths of each platform. Umnitsa takes an interesting and a pretty effective approach to asset management by actually building integrations into each data source instead of trying to track things on their own using agents or other methods that might add unnecessary overhead. This allows Umnitsa to become the source of truth for everything in your environment, and it allows them to focus on actually surfacing important data and displaying it in a useful fashion. They've got a very powerful but simple reporting engine that enables viewing of high-level data and trends, but it also allows for drilling down into the data to get more granular insights. Combining Jamf Pro with Umnitsa allows you to configure a ton of valuable workflows like flagging unexpected device behavior, ensuring devices are checking in on a regular basis, and automating the life cycle of devices. So how specifically does this work with Jamf? Well, Umnitsa has built out a connector to Jamf Pro that imports the inventory information on devices in Jamf Pro to the Umnitsa console. This information is kept fresh by fetching new details about inventory when a computer or a mobile device completes an action such as an inventory update or a check-in. Once the connector is configured and information is flowing from Jamf Pro to Umnitsa, you can start to use Umnitsa's automation engine to create business workflows that combine your Jamf Pro inventory data with any other system you have integrated with Umnitsa. You can check out more details of the integration on the Umnitsa Marketplace listing, and you can also take a look at the actual connector, which they make available on GitHub.
Excellent. And our last solution for the day is a personal favorite of mine, JaiAlai. JaiAlai is your pocket companion to Jamf Pro. It is a very cool iOS app that allows you to look up managed device information quickly without having to fire up a web browser. You can search for devices by their associated user, serial number of the device, or the associated asset tag. And if your organization happens to use barcodes, JaiAlai supports scanning them with your iPhone or iPad camera. And as a tool for frontline support, you can perform basic device actions like updating inventory or sending a blank push, things that might save you and the end user an IT ticket. One of the reasons I like JaiAlai so much is because who created it and why. Randy Sakes is an Apple Distinguished Educator out of Illinois, and this was actually his first Swift project and his first time ever interacting with the Jamf Pro API. And it was made to help a technician be able to quickly respond to those in-the-moment requests without having to get out a laptop with Safari. And being that Randy is from education, this would more often than not come up in classroom. When you're helping out with one problem, people are absolutely going to ask about that iPad question that they haven't gotten around to asking. So JaiAlai really helps be an in-the-moment support resource for your users. JaiAlai is available through the App Store, and it's only $1.99. And if you need to offer in-person support and you'd like to do it from a mobile device, I would highly encourage you to check it out and buy a copy. To find out more about Randy's app, JaiAlai, you can either search for it in the App Store or you can visit the Jamf Marketplace listing to be brought right there. Hopefully this was a great introduction to the Jamf Marketplace for you. And we would really encourage you to make the Jamf Marketplace a stop when you're looking for integrated solutions, consultants, or managed service providers that can really get the most out of Jamf, Jamf Pro, and your Apple devices. We really appreciate you taking the time to learn about 7 of these solutions today, and we hope there's at least one that you can bring back to your environment today that will make your life as an admin easier or will make life better for your end users. So thank you so much for your time today, and we appreciate you stopping by for another Jamf webinar.